Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 5th of February. So, start off with looking at the news. Before we look at today's news, just a overview of Friday's data. Of course, it's non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday, and they completely smashed the expectations there. As ever, the ADP data is a pile of rubbish in terms of expectation. It was showing things worse than they were. In fact, they were significantly better than they were. So average earnings went up 0.6 versus 0.3. The employment change was positive 353,000 jobs created, and unemployment rate was 3.7 versus 3.8. So some big differences there. The consequence of that is that it's hit home to a lot of traders who were expecting a March cut in the US interest rates, and now that's looking very unlikely. So it's putting things together here. It's the sort of a positive surprise in this particular case, and it's obviously boosted the US dollar for a while at least. It seems that traders are pretty focused on doing their best to sell the dollar, but we'll talk about that in a moment. I was just looking there. Fed Chair Powell spoke at midnight. I just looked through a few of his notes there, and the obvious things. If you scroll back to midnight, there we go. It's unlikely we have confidence for a March interest rate cut. Once again, just in case there's anyone that hasn't really picked up on that. Although, as expected, and this is not a surprise or anything there, yet some people may take it as a bit of a surprise that he's actually saying there might be cuts this year. It's appropriate. Anyway, there we go. So, what we've got in store for today, we've already had the Australian data out there this morning, all very low-key data in terms of moving the markets as a whole, or even the Aussie dollar. We've got the services PMI, the French-German data coming out, the final data coming out. This is actually quite low-key in terms of its action. Quite often UK and the US later on this, the final data. Generally, the flash is the biggie. If there was something significant in terms of changes away, but these are the flash figures are relatively that good that they barely move. Bank of England speaker, it's all down to after 5:30 this afternoon. Then we got speakers which we can't address what they're going to be doing. You can actually watch them by clicking on the button on here, but there we go. So a modestly quiet day. Let's have a look at we'll start off looking at the euro dollar. Well, we saw this quite a big bearish candle from Friday with no shock there when we look at that. It's just really continuing in the original trend. It had tried to pop out here, but we've taken the previous lows out there. In fact, we can just adjust this trend line slightly. It is a significant lower high that's come through now, or been marked in there, so we can do that. You see the mess here. The one thing I would say, as much as personally I think we should see a continuation on the downside in the euro, is that the frequency of the retracements in how far they've come up, even regardless of the news, even on the FOMC day, they said that rates are unlikely to be cut soon. Yet the markets bought back into or sold the dollar again on Thursday, only for the proof to be shown on Friday. However, I do wonder whether we'll see buyers trying to come back in and push this back up again. I don't know, or just start selling the dollar. Maybe sellers rather than buyers coming through here. Anyway, for now, certainly it's in a technical trend. I can't see an immediate trade on this. It's again consolidating here. Maybe if we start seeing a breakdown, might be a bit of a go with down towards the R1, maybe even the R2. I'd rather be on the short side of it, but it seems to be too much of a battle going on. Talking of battles, the pound dollar. Now this market has been going a bit chop sideways. Also, the interest rate decisions and some of the positive results coming out. It's been quite positive for the pound, and well, the pound itself has just been sitting in this range, and we're just seeing the bottom of the range hit now. I would imagine there'll be traders coming in there. I could see the potential for maybe a buy into this at some stage. I'm just sort of looking for maybe the higher low that needs to come in for my liking. The only thing I would say is the overall range of it, if you come back to the dailies here, the overall range is almost the full a day's trading effectively. Okay, it got carried away a little bit towards the end there, but on Friday and carried on, but it is looking on that softer phase, but softer as in the potential reversal. We'll see. I'd like to be a bit more sort of clear on these, but there are some each way bets effectively. The euro's the better downside. The US dollar yen may be the better upside, although it's just running into resistance of its previous highs. So again, we've got this potential. Well, we have knocked on the door a few times here, and there's the possibility of it pushing up. There's no reason why it shouldn't just push up and continue running through for the moment at least. And maybe if we can break these highs, the previous highs will come into play there. I do have these previous highs were the highs, the previous highs, so there'll be a trip top on that if it gets there. Anyway, we'll see what happens, but at the moment stalling around these highs, potential to push up further. Aussie dollar again, well, this is a market I just expect it to sell off more. It's catching a little bit of a bounce at the moment, maybe just a morning thing, bit of morning glory. Maybe we'll see. I prefer to look at this and wait and see if it starts breaking this trend line, starts rolling over. I'm interested on the short side here. US dollar CAD, another market. It's well, it was solid push up there. It's well, it's a mess on the I'm sort of looking at last week, and it was a complete mess in terms of pattern and what. In fact, come back here and you see the consolidation over the end of the week there. It's yeah, quite ugly. I was expecting at one stage more downside. It's still got scope to, but at the moment, well, trying the old pivot swing in here. It's yeah, looking a little bit more like it could continue to that upside, but anyway, New Zealand dollar. Well, the New Zealand dollar finally broke the pivot there. Is that the pivot or my drawings? That's my drawings, beg your pardon. Broke its low. I was thinking for a moment, what pivot's that one then? It was the previous lows there. Finally broke those previous lows. I've taken the support away now, look, just by doing that. But we are seeing, or we have seen some support into the end of the just looking into the last week there, into its S1, but that of course is gone now. What I'm looking at here is a potential, if it does catch any upside here, I'd be look to short into the, or just around, I should say, rather than into the new weekly pivot. Sorry, weekly pivot. Did I say weekly? Weekly pivot. Anyway, from a daily point of view, still catching that bit of a bounce at the moment. Again, we've got maybe a bit of confluence. I'll have a look at the data on that later, but it does look like there's a couple of points from which to sell. The Swiss is back into its trend line again. Is it going to break it this time? We've had so many hits on it. At some stage, you would expect it to push on through, consolidated where it is at the moment. With the stronger dollar, I think we should see it continue through there, but again, just slowing down where it is now. So say that every time we see some sort of rally, news-based rally in the dollar, we're seeing it sort of pull back afterwards. This almost disbelief, but Yes, the dollar does generally take a dip in as the year goes on, and we'd expect it to take a dip as interest rates are closer to be taken down or whatever. But at the moment, February's been very positive for God knows how many years on the US dollar. Anyway, we'll see how this breaks, but my preference is still to the upside here. Right, okay. Morning, Alex, Paul, morning. Okay, bounce on the Euro Yen here on the dailies there. Euro just taking over the yen a little bit. This is looking a little bit more encouraging, a little bit more positive, back to the upside now. So I could be interested in this as the day goes on. We've got this sort of bull flag-ish sort of pattern here. So we'll see how we come out of this movement. But there's potential for the upside there on the Euro Yen. Right, okay, that's it for a moment. I'll look back at these, or continue looking through these later on from the trading room. There's a link on the bottom of the YouTube video if you want to join me about 8:35. Okay, let's just have a quick look on the indices here, and firstly gold. So gold sold off on Friday with the news as well. It's all much of the same. It's the end of the weekly pivot there, just held onto it and just provided the resistance, rolled over, which is currently below this week's pivot. Heading back to that quarterly pivot by looks of things. Just looks soft here. Put the lower highs in. This certainly looks like it's got more potential for the downside. Broken the little trend that had been building, so it's flattening out here. But as I say, put the lower highs in here. This does look softer. Oil also off, and we haven't seen a reaction to the counter attacks in the Middle East there. Maybe the measured approach is just given a bit of confidence. We are seeing these lower highs, and it's just looking to me like it's a sell. So just we'll hang into this until later on today, 2 o'clock. You see, it actually won at about 1 o'clock, but we had the news out, of course, on Friday. But 2 o'clock, it really got its decent move there. But 2 o'clock is the time for that for me. S&P's cash, futures, sorry. Futures, well, it didn't sit too negative on Friday. We managed to carry on in the route there, and the equity markets are continuing as they were. Higher lows coming through here on the Nasdaq, just all looking positive on the upside. Dow Jones the same, looking close to home. The DAX slowed up a little bit there, a bit more hanging, almost a hanging man there. It's just looking a bit more iffy, the DAX. We'll see how things progress with this, but certainly it's the weakness, what lays beneath when you start drilling down on the 4 hourlies here. Just looking a bit soft this morning with the lower highs confirmed through there. It looks like it's getting into a bit more potential range there. Okay, FTSE. Likewise, not looking great from where it is on the 4 hourly. Last week, well, it did sell on the Friday, unlike a lot of the markets, and it's just looking iffy here again. Oil prices dropping doesn't really help the FTSE a lot either. There's a lot of big players there, the constituents. Anyway, this is easing its way back. My preference still is to the downside on this at this stage. Okay. That's pretty much it for me for now. As I say, you can catch me in the room later. Link at the bottom. Otherwise, I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care. Bye for now, YouTubers.